Hello folks, Tim here, Big Dog Forge. Welcome back. So I was asked a question by a viewer, and that question was, can I do canister Damascus without a welder? Can I go down to the store, get some black pipe, a couple of caps, put some powdered steel and other things in there, screw the caps on, and forge them out? Well, the answer is no. This is how your cap ends up. They're made from a low carbon cast iron. They call it malleable steel. And just about 1900 degrees they start to disintegrate. So in any case, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can make canister Damascus without a welder to weld a can together. So what you're seeing me do here is forge down a piece of 1 1/4 inch square bar to a round cross section. It's just about 1 1/4 round, a little over that actually. And I'm cutting some 1 inch lengths off of it. These are going to become plugs for this 1 1/4 inch ID black water pipe that we had laying around. So I'm going to clean up the ends of it, get the burrs out of there, and I'll take my plugs and put a little bevel on the end. That chamfer will help me to drive it into the pipe. We're going to clean up the sides, but I'm not going to take all the facets off of it from the power hammer. That'll actually help give it a little bit of resistance. And what we'll do is we'll peen these edges over it, but this is not the final fit for this. This is just so we can get this can loaded. So we did not clean the inside of this piece of water pipe, and I'm kind of counting on some of that rust in the scale that's on the plugs to keep them from welding together. If they do, no big deal. So what we've done is we've loaded this can up with a bunch of ball bearings. You can see that there's some paper inside there. I rolled up some paper, put it on the inside to help the mild steel separate the canister from the high carbon. And we're putting our other plug on top after we get our powdered steel in. That was 1084 powdered steel and ball bearings. And we're going to start painting this end over. You can tell it's gone in a little bit further than the other end, so we'll peen this part way. Give it a good lip, and we're going to stop there, and we'll push this plug down in a little further with our drift, and we'll start painting this end over a little further. So we're compressing that material towards the center, and you can see where the pipe is actually expanded where we ran those plugs in, so it's got a good grip on those things. And our lip that we're putting on the ends of this will actually help hold this in while we're forging it. We're going to forge this out by hand. We'll give it 3 good forge welds on the anvil with a good heavy hammer, and then we'll cut the can off of it, see how we did. There we go. Grab some tongs, get this thing in the fire. We're going to bring it up to regular forge welding temperatures. And for me, I like to keep it just under 2300 degrees, about 2250. And you'll see me knocking that end down as I square this off, just to ensure that plug stays in place. It's not super important, because as I'm hitting this, it feels extremely solid. It feels like one solid brick. As a matter of fact, those ball bearings are making this quite a tough piece of steel. And this is forging up beautifully. It feels really, really good under the hammer. So we'll get this guy over into the vise. And you can see that can sort of cooling at the ends. It looks like it did not weld. We're going to start pulling this can off while this thing is still hot. It'll be a little bit more difficult to deal with the can and moving it around, but the should come off a little easier. And we got right down to that one little piece that welded to the end. It's still warm. There we go. You can see the ball bearings. All right, let's get this thing into the forge and forge it out. So what I did is I've got mild steel plugs on either end, and I've got my canister Damascus between the two. So right after this particular heat, I just hot cut and bent it in the middle. There we go. Didn't get it exactly in the middle, and forge welded it together again. That's so that I could keep those mild steel plugs all on one end. We're going to make a knife out of this thing. We'll use those as the tang for the handle. See how that looks. Let me get this thing cleaned up under the surface grinder. You're going to notice that there's a whole bunch of Big Dog Forge logos all over everything. It's because I've had videos stolen and re-uploaded by others, and just taken we got a couple little cracks there. Just taking a page out of Jimmy DeResta's playbook. If you got enough of your logos all over the place, it's harder for folks to steal that stuff. So we ground out all these little cracks that we had at the very end. I think I overheated it a little bit while it was in the forge, when I was forge welding it after I'd folded it. And we're gonna just make some sort of a knife-shaped object here real quick. We're gonna keep this pretty quick and move through the steps. We're gonna go ahead and get it ground down and sanded and heat treat it. And I'll show you some of those steps, but not all of them, just so we can move this video along. So Jake Bendel, viewer, was the one who actually asked the question, can you do canister Damascus without a welder? And he thought maybe it would be good with some water pipe from the hardware store and some caps. Well, the caps don't work. Water pipe works just fine from the store. Make sure you use black pipe. Do not use galvanized. And you make some plugs, pin them into place, and it comes out pretty well. So I heat treated here, and I did not show you that simply to save time in the video. We got it all sanded down, took it to a 400 grit in the ferric chloride, and we'll get some oil on this because it's dry right now. And we gave it a quick etch. This is about a 10-minute single etch. I'll do more on it later when I get ready to put a handle on it. But there you go, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one, Jake. I hope you got some good info out of it. There shouldn't be any reason why you couldn't put just about any kind of canister Damascus together that you could think of. You don't necessarily have to use round pipe if you got access to square, and that's what you want to use. You just have to create some square plugs. Obviously, you could forge those out of just about whatever you needed to. Just make sure they're long enough that they've got some resistance, some friction in there. Alright guys, we're going to call it good this time around. I want to thank everybody for watching and all the support that the little channel's been getting lately. Do appreciate it so very much. So if you wanted to, you could like, share, and subscribe. All of those things help the channel out, and I would appreciate it very much. Alright. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye now.